Long ago, beyond the 7 hills and 3 rivers, there was a quiet village named Obadum. It was a place of laughter, harvest, and song. Children ran through the dusty roads, chasing goats and butterflies, while old men sat beneath the great iroko tree, telling tales of gods and spirits. And but not far from Obadum stood the evil forest. The trees there grew so tall and thick that sunlight barely touched the ground. The air inside was cold, heavy, and always whispering, as if unseen beings were breathing beside you. No one from Obadum dared to enter it, for generations had been warned, those who go in, never return. And it was said that, long ago, the forest had been cursed by the gods. The people of Obadum once angered them by killing a sacred animal, a white leopard, that guarded the path of the ancestors. Since then, every full moon, someone from the village disappeared. No blood. No struggle. Just gone, swallowed by the forest's dark breath. The villagers lived in fear, locking their doors and lighting fires through the night. Mothers prayed. Fathers stayed awake, clutching machetes that could not cut spirits. And one night, when the moon was full and red as palm wine, a cry echoed through the village. My son. My only son is gone. It was the voice of Mama Gozi, the widow whose husband had died years earlier in the forest. Her only son, Kileki, had gone to fetch water and never returned. And the villagers gathered, shaking their heads. It's the curse again, they whispered. But one man stepped forward, a tall, quiet hunter named Obina. His heart ached for Mama Gozi, who had suffered more than anyone. If the gods will not save her son, he said, then I will. And the elders warned him. No man who enters the evil forest returns alive. Obina only nodded. Then I will die trying. For what is life if we let fear rule us forever? That night, he sharpened his blade, packed his bow and arrows, and tied a charm around his neck, one blessed by the village priest. Mama Gozi wept and handed him a small gourd. It's my son's drinking calabash, she said. If you find it, bring it home, even if you do not find him. And when dawn came, Obina stood before the forest. The wind was still, the birds silent. As he stepped inside, the air changed, thicker, colder. The trees seemed to close behind him, whispering his name in voices that were not human. And hours passed. He found old bones tangled in roots, torn cloths hanging from branches, and strange markings carved deep into tree trunks. The deeper he went, the more the forest felt alive, breathing, watching, waiting. Suddenly, he heard something. A soft cry. A boy's voice. Mama. Mama. And Obina turned sharply. There, by a fallen tree, stood a small figure, pale, trembling. It was Kileki. But his eyes were empty. When Obina called his name, the boy smiled, a slow and natural smile, and said, You came too late. And before Obina could move, the trees around them began to shift. Faces appeared in the bark. Eyes opened in the roots. The boy's form twisted and melted into smoke, and from that smoke, a dark figure emerged. And it was the spirit of the forest. Its voice was deep, echoing from everywhere and nowhere. Why do you disturb my silence, mortal? And Obina knelt, trembling but unbroken. I came for the boy. For the children you've taken. And this curse. And the spirit laughed, a sound like thunder breaking stone. Your people killed my guardian. For centuries I have fed on your fear. But you walk into my home with courage. Why? The forest went silent. The spirit's shape flickered, its voice grew softer. Long have I waited for one heart pure enough to speak truth to me, it said. The curse was never meant to destroy, but to test. And then, the spirit raised its arm. A great light burst through the trees, blinding, warm, and golden. Obina fell to his knees as the forest around him began to bloom again. Flowers sprouted from the roots. Birds sang. And from the light stepped the souls of all who had been lost, smiling and free, including Kileki. And GT, the boy ran to Obina, laughing as though he had just woken from a dream. "You saved me," he said. Obina smiled, tears in his eyes. "No, my son. The gods saved us all." And GT, when Obina and Kileki returned to the village, the people cried with joy. The forest that had been feared for centuries was no longer dark, its trees now glowed with golden leaves. And GT, from that day, the people of Obadum never forgot what Obina did. They built a shrine at the forest's edge, not to worship fear, but to honor courage and love. And GT, and every full moon, when the wind hums softly through the trees, it is said you can still hear the spirit whisper, "The curse is broken, but remember, true light lives only in hearts unafraid to love." Moral lesson. And GT, courage guided by love can heal even the oldest curses. Fear chains the soul, but love sets it free.